You are in for a real treat. This episode was originally recorded for my other podcast, but for you, it's been upgraded and transformed, and now you have the Ask the Pro show. So everything mentioned in this episode will now be found on chrisdufay.com, plus so much more, as I've designed the Ask the Pro podcast and chrisdufay.com to give you exactly what you need to grow your business success and for you to have the money, the freedom, and the happiness you want, making a bigger and better impact to the world unselfishly. So now it's time to delve straight into this episode, and I want you to lap up and enjoy every single second of it. All right, so Jason, we've gone back into, for the listener, if you haven't listened to the episode before, please do so, because you're going to get a big background. We're not going to delve into the whole what's going on, who Jason is. We know he's phenomenal. That's why he's sitting here. But what we're going to do with this episode is really give you kind of a real insights into a step-by-step plan, and to really broaden your horizons for where you are, where you want to go, and how to actually make that happen as well. But to just make sure we really get the creative juices rolling as well. Jason, I know of your story, and I want you to share your story of the first day of no work, but actually bringing in the money as well, and kind of that situation where it clicked for you. Because when you told me that story, I was just like, that is something that the world needs to know more of, because as well, this is something that's so powerful that can get the listener moving into really making a difference for themselves.
So I had just quit my job like a month ago, and business is going well, but it had been a grind for me. I've been working every day, and me and my buddies went out Saturday night to blow off some steam, and I'm not a big spender. I'm not flashy, but we were at a bar, and we had met some girls and stuff, and our favorite bar was just packed with a huge line, and I'm like, dude, screw this. So I just go to the bouncer, I'm like, here's like $50 or like $75, man. He lets us in. Yeah. And I was, it just felt good to be able to do that. Yeah. I'm like, cool. Yeah. And, we bring some company home, and, wake up the next morning, and I was like, oh shit, I got to check my ads. And this girl's probably thinking like, what's wrong with this guy? And so I run out to my computer, and because all we had were computers in our apartment, right? Computers and mattresses on the floor. That was it. And I run out there, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm still making money. Good. So I go back, and she's looking out my balcony, pool view, like just half naked, and just had a breathtaking ass, And I flashed back to like a couple years ago, and I had that exact vision in my head where I was making money, and had a great looking girl there, and it was just something kind of clicked, and I'm like, holy shit, yeah, I'm living this. Yeah. So we get breakfast, and I take her home, and I join my buddies back by the pool, and we're just chilling and chatting with friends, and I'm like, man, I really feel like I should get back to work, but I'm like, I just want to enjoy life a little bit. Yeah. So I come back in, I'm still making money, and then I was like, all right, cool, fine. And then I'm like, I'm just take the rest of the night off. And then the next morning I check, and I had one of my best days ever. And I didn't do, an ounce of work. Yeah. And once that happens, you can't go back to a job. You can't go back to trading your time for money anymore.
Yes, great point.
And I'm not saying it's not hard work and you don't have to grind.
Yep.
But when you divorce your time from money, your life changes.
That is a huge problem that obviously I speak a lot about as well, is taking that leap of because I find our most important asset is our time.
I agree, absolutely.
And so much of the world is prostituting themselves for prostituting 5 days of the week to have 2 days of freedom. Absolutely. Or 6 to 1. And that's not a deal I think is fair to make.
Do you want to live the rest of your life that way?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times Chris and I have been sitting there, or some of our other buddies, like, what day is it? Like, literally, we forget what day it is, because it's all the same to us. It's a day. Yeah. And we can do whatever we want, whether it's working and or scuba diving or surfing.
Well, I tell you what, this would be great for the listener. What happens when we're at home and you get talking to someone that's on holidays? Do you know what I mean? And then they ask.
Yeah. So we go paddleboarding, and we're just cruising out there and come back in, and there's a couple people from Australia. We live in Bali, so a couple people from Australia are chatting with us, and they're like, "Oh, how long are you guys here for?" And I look at them like, "We live here," and they're like, "What?" And it wasn't even possible in their mind.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, we should have an online business." And they're like, "Oh, you mean you're bums, right?" So we just laugh, and we're like, "No, yeah, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
So people are so ingrained with, like you said, prostituting 5 days for 2 days of freedom.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that.
Yeah.
I remember Sundays, like, man, I got to go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't even know what day it is sometimes. Yeah. What is it, Thursday today? I think it's Thursday, right?
No, it's Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. Yeah. Because tomorrow we've got the mastermind.
Right,
It's Friday. Okay. Now, I think the important part of this as well is and this is an important part that I want the listener to really understand, is I feel like it's important to go through seasons, I call them seasons, of working hard, grinding, really like putting it to the axe, like really grinding it out, and then having to be able to kind of like let some steam off, cooler off, let your brain kind of reflect a little bit, and then you can kind of go ebb and flow through that as well. But I also find the difference is when you are really like, and I've been going through it recently, like just working, like pumping every single day. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's always, I still always wake up with a smile on my face because the work isn't work in the general sense. Like, yes, it's work, absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, we enjoy the projects that we're working on. And I think that is a huge difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you're not punching a clock and collecting a check. It's like, I'm building something cool that will provide income for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you start to enjoy it. And like Chris said, there are days where work is tough and we're absolutely grinding. But you can't have the days of sometimes weeks of just laying back working 4 hours a week without the grind. You can get there, but not immediately.
No, I think it's so true. Like I still wake up for me, I feel structure gives me a lot of freedom. It's just the kind of the way I work with my personality. But like I still wake up at 5:30 in the morning, but the way I want to do it is like I'll wake up early, get work done, and be productive in that time, so then I can have the rest of the day off, and be able to chill. But then at other times, like there's been those days, and it still amazes me. It's just like I'm just not up for it today. Like I know if I try and sit down and do work now, I'm not going to deliver my best. So what is the point?
Right. And it's like when you're working a job, you have to go in and put in your 8 hours, right?
Yes.
But like you have the freedom when you own your own business to like, hey, I'm not being very productive today. Like I can't concentrate. Let's just take like a half day off, the rest of the day off, and just chill. And we'll hit it hard tomorrow, and that freedom is also liberating.
But that's a really good point, because you do have those days where it's like I'm going hard today. Like I'm really rocking this out, and I'm not gonna go to the beach today. But it's just a really good point about getting there as well. Now, something you said in the actual episode before that I hope the listeners listen to is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. How did this come about with you getting to the situation that you're in now?
So, I sell the things I sell, and the things I notice other people are selling very successfully were the same things other people were doing in the market. So the market tells you what they want. Right? And some people are like, oh, that industry's too competitive, or blah 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 blah, and I'm like, well, it's competitive because there's money there. And
I think that's just such a great point. I think that's another mindset thing as well, because we've both had people say that to us, and like especially like with supplements, and like supplements in the kind of like that weight loss area. It's like, oh well, that's a saturated market. And I was like, well, yeah, it is a saturated market, but that doesn't mean that I can come in with something better, something different, and be able to deliver great value and be able to take market share.
Right. A lot of my closest friends have made a lot of money in those highly competitive markets. And I think you just need one advantage to enter a market, just one. And that could be like better marketing, better product. You outwork everyone else. Like just something that gives you an edge. I think that's all you need. And now, I don't think it's, wise to just copy someone blatantly. But the best products, and we talked about this briefly in the other episode, is a product that people want with a slight spin on it. And sometimes it's just marketing. Sometimes it's just branding. I love what you're doing with your supplements and stuff because, look at the supplement companies that do well, and it's just really good branding.
Yeah.
And it's replicable.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a split with so much more for you. Now, I know you're listening and tuning in because you know how important your health is and how this can also catapult your business. This is why I'm very happy to say that this podcast is sponsored by My Body Blends and my favorite, the Superfood Elixir, the powerful greens drink. Now, this is designed specially to boost energy, aids detoxification, enhances the ability to burn fat, supports healthy carbohydrate metabolism, and best of all, is voted best tasting greens drink. Now, myself and the My Body Blends team are looking for ambassadors to join, so you and your clients get the health benefits plus adding in a strong income stream for you and your business. The ambassador program, which is by application only, means you get exclusive access to sell My Body Blends products like Superfood Elixir to your clients, plus giving you the special ambassador pricing and bonuses. So once you become an ambassador, you can join the other top health and fitness players that are adding thousands to their week's income. Now, there is only a limited number of ambassadors we are taking on board, as this is a tribe leading the way together. So to apply and to join, go to mybodyblend.com/ambassador or add the checkout code that is TurningPro, all one word, when you're going to get your own Superfood Elixir to order. Plus, you're going to get free shipping and a bonus to save yourself over $250 instantly. So just use that coupon code TurningPro in the checkout and you can save over $250 right now, all on mybodyblend.com. It's a great point that I think anybody in any business, any industry needs to have is, what is that uniqueness that you have?
Right.
Like what differentiates you, your product or your service from the rest of your competition? How can you stand head and shoulders above from your competition? How do you help people get to that point or see that in themselves or what they're doing?
Right. And here's another example. I wanted to dabble in the supplement space a little bit, get into it.
Yeah.
So I had a couple buddies doing it on Amazon, and they had the most automated businesses I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing, the past 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And my focus is off that now because I don't need to work on it. My business runs with like a couple hours of input with me per week.
All right. I want the listener to hear that again. To repeat exactly how beautiful this blossom is.
So my business runs and does well, and I work maybe 2 hours a week on that business, and it just runs, and it's awesome. It's life changing.
It's unreal.
I'm selling the same supplements that you can go right now and call manufacturers and say, I want a supplement just like this guy's doing, right? And you can go get that done today, and get a label, slap one on, and sell it. So I'm not doing anything that's reinventing the wheel. My one advantage is I out-researched my friends that were doing supplements, and I just found better supplements than they did.
A really good point. I'll jump in there as well. It's because we literally had a conversation. You were sitting just over there, and you're like, you spent 2 days researching this one company's supplements and their formulations.
Every single one.
Exactly.
And it was a grind, but that's how I'm like, this niche is underserved. Like, I can compete here and do well. And I wrote, I spent a lot of time writing copy. And I just wrote, my listings convert probably twice as good as most people's on Amazon sometimes. And that's my advantage. I'm not doing anything. I'm not reinventing anything, man. And that's, a message I think people need to hear.
I think it kind of just brings up a thought. I remember hearing about, there was, I'm pretty sure it was a brain, like cognition supplement. And it was the same formula, but it was selling to 5 different markets, 5 different niches. So it was like one was airline pilots, another was like university students, and onwards it goes. It was the same bloody thing, but it was sold with a different label and sold with different marketing. And because it was so effective, because like marketing isn't hard, it's not rocket science. It's simply just showing someone that they have a problem and what that solution is for them.
Yeah, I think that's a great point where you can sell the same product to different verticals, to different markets, and reach those people directly. That's one way to create an advantage for yourself.
Yeah.
Another great way is, if something's selling well in the U.S., I mean, we all know how people love to buy shit in America. Yeah. But so many people are ignoring the opportunity in other countries.
Yes.
And, I think that's a great place to start sometimes. Like, have some friends selling in the UK, Australia. Germany is a huge budding market in Amazon. And if you can speak any German or figure out how to translate it, you could rock it there. Yeah. And again, that's your one advantage. Yeah. So that's kind of like, that's something I came up with. I had an epiphany one day, and I'm like, man, you only need one advantage to enter any market. Yeah. And a lot of hard work.
Okay, now let's go over into the systems, because a lot of the time with a business is just a bunch of systems, and I think so many people actually miss that point. How can we start developing systems? Where do you find the power and the simplicity of this?
So to build any system, you need to know the system, right? Before you build it, in my opinion. And it's very overwhelming. Like Chris has a great marketing funnel. And if you look at his funnel, it's like, dude, where's this thing go? It's like a maze. Yeah. But he built it. You built it slowly over time. Yeah. And I think if you deconstruct, you do something, you're selling, right? And then you deconstruct the processes, then you can delegate those processes down. But it's when you look at the whole picture is when it gets complicated. Yeah. So you need to kind of chunk down and take it in little steps and then develop processes for all those steps.
I tell you what, this would be a really good point. We'll say the name of it, I don't care. About you buying the credit card knife and going through the system of that. Do you want to go through that? That would be really cool.
So you guys have probably heard of the credit card knife and digital marketer stuff. So a friend of mine sent me.
So this is just just for the product, just for someone that doesn't actually know. This is just, it's a plastic. It's a plastic knife that folds into like a credit card shape, same size.
Yep. Put it in your wallet, unfold it. It's a knife.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. And completely random product, but yeah.
My mentor at the time was like, you need to go through this funnel. Right. Just go through it. And the sales funnel was about. I spent an hour and a half in this thing recording the whole entire thing. Yep. And at the end, they had billed me for $185. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. And but there's a system of upsells and downsells. So you bought the credit card knife, they upsold you on a newsletter, a monthly print newsletter. It's $20 a month, but gave you another free knife if you signed up for that. And then you say yes or no. It could be a downsell to a trial. Yep. If you say yes, it's the next offer. The next offer was a survival DVD. Yep. And there's one more offer after that. And then at the end, there was email submits for other funnels. Yep. And I looked at that and I was like, this is brilliant. Why don't more marketers, why don't more business owners and entrepreneurs know about this? Yeah. And I started diving into this and I was like, this is awesome. And this got me excited because I was talking with another friend of mine who built his own funnel, and he would upsell people on a year's supply of his supplement at a steep discount. Mm-hmm. And maybe only 2 to 4% would actually convert, but that 2 to 4% meant thousands of dollars a week to his bottom line. Yes. And it's those simple tweaks to your business, as you've seen, that are like, wow, one extra thing I offer a customer that's a simple yes or no to them could mean a difference of 10, 20, 50 grand a month.
I remember the very first information product that I made and started selling. I did break it down. There was 2 upsells after it, and the first upsell was the training package to go along with the nutrition guide that was the original product, and it was the exact same price, and it was taken about 80% of the time. So 80% of the time I at least doubled my sale,
right?
Just from having that.
And your customer acquisition costs stayed the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the mistake I made in my first business, is I focused on my one product that sold really well, and I didn't have a system of series of upsells and other products, and that kind of stagnated my growth a little bit. And had I done it the smarter way, I probably would have made 3 times as much money. Yeah. So I think it's something that's missed a lot, and so many people, including myself, focus on their one product. when you need to focus, like, what is your business? What are you selling?
Yes.
What do these people want?
Yes. I think it's a really good point that it's kind of the difference between strategies and tactics. Tactics are just like one-off promotions or throwing something out there, and this can work once off kind of thing. But what's your overall strategy? Do you know what I mean? What are you doing to really encompass? What is your business? What are you selling? And I think a lot of the time people actually don't know their customer well enough to actually understand what they need to be giving them to actually solve their problems. And that's all we're doing in business at the end of the day.
Solving problems.
Exactly. No, that's a really good point. Okay, now, what would say your major steps, let's go back to you, Jace, is what are the major steps from you quitting your job to sitting here right now?
My biggest steps were I had to find my main selling point, or my main selling process or system, right? So 80% of your time in any new business should be getting sales, and you want to find the one thing that will get you the majority of those sales, and you want to repeat that over and over.
Have you read the book The One Thing?
I have.
Okay, yeah, okay, beautiful. Keep going.
And that's what a lot of people miss. They're like, oh, I want to do Facebook marketing, and I want to do Google PPC, and I want to do Amazon, and then I want to do native advertising, and then I want to call a bunch of bloggers. I'm like, dude, you're one person. Like, you can't do all this. You're not Superman. I mean, like Chris sitting there with the Superman shirt on. No, I'm kidding. But you're not Superman, and you need to find the one strategy that will really kill it. In fact, my biggest seller, or my one strategy was Facebook advertising. Started taking off for me, right? I almost quit that because I spent like maybe a couple $1,000 in advertising to not get very good results. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't work and whatever. And I had a mentor. It's like, stick with Facebook. Like, this is your education and your learning curve. And had I not had that, I wouldn't be here today. I'm convinced.
That is great advice.
So you need your one simple selling strategy that will get you as many sales as possible. And you need to be working on the sales 80% of the time. I learned that the hard way. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, but luckily when I started getting sales, it like lit a fire, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, how many? And then I was like, how many sales can I do in a day? How can I grow this? How can I expand? So I kind of naturally fell into that. But looking back, it's like your number one job as a new business owner is to make sales.
Okay, this is a really good point, and it was brought up in a meeting I was just in earlier today, was focusing on sales. And I find so much of the time especially when like trainers and coaches and consultants and stuff, when they first come to me and I dig into what they're doing with their business at the moment, a lot of it you can boil down into just they're just procrastinating a lot of the time. It's like, okay, what are you doing to bring on new clients? And they're like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. I'm like, what's working? Well, you don't have that many clients, so it's really not working. Like, let's boil it down to what's going on. The guy that I was talking to earlier today literally grew a seven-figure business for people to build websites. They did not have a website.
I believe it.
Their email domain was through a Gmail. Now, I wouldn't recommend that, and he wouldn't either, but that just shows you they concentrated on just delivering the results for the clients, getting clients, and then delivering it for it.
Yeah, it's like when you got to concentrate on the right thing.
Yes.
Client acquisition or product sales or SaaS sales. I have a friend who runs a SaaS. I use a service, and like, it wasn't perfect. You know, it's a good service, but like, and I hit him up all the time. Hey man, your stuff's broken. Can you fix it? Oh yeah, thanks. So many people like strive to get their product perfect. I was a perfectionist, and being a perfectionist is the worst thing you can do as an entrepreneur or an aspiring business owner or what have you. In my, and that I had to overcome that. And now, like,
so did I, for sure.
We have a thing called FIDL, FIDIL. Excuse my language, but it's fuck it, do it live.
It's a really good, okay,
so it's like when your product is like 60 to 80% of the way there, then just launch. And then when you launch and you get real customers, you get real feedback, and then you fix those problems. And I mean, let's face it, I'm sure you've launched stuff. I've launched stuff. And I've done as much bug testing as possible, and it still breaks.
And even for, say, a service type business, let's say with personal trainers, is if they want to start online training, I say a lot of them is like, okay, well, the best possible way we could do this, let's say for an example, is do like a one-to-many scenario of a group kind of like coaching program. Start with 20 people. Get 20 people, say, look, we're running this for the first time. This is kind of like a beta test. You get it for half the price. You're going to, the rules and kind of the terms of conditions of coming on board, you have to follow the program. You have to give a testimonial and give me feedback on what's going on, and you deliver the results for the people. Right. And they understand. Like, we're all human at the end of the day as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And every time I've had a client do that, or myself even doing that, it's always come out gangbusters.
Yep. And the other thing that I think not many people talk about, and I'm certainly guilty of in the beginning, was, you want your product to be perfect. And what you're really doing is you're afraid of failure.
Yes.
Because if you never launch, you can never fail, right?
Yeah.
And, my mindset's shifted. Like, I would rather fail as fast as I can and know.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say fail, I mean, like, I'm going to launch a product. I don't know if it's going to work, but I want to know as quick as possible.
Yes.
Whereas,
fail forward.
Yeah. And where, like, I talk to so many people sometimes who need, our help.
Yeah.
Or come to me for help, and I can just see it in their language. They're just afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I don't want my product to fail. Well, no one wants that.
Yeah.
But like, the market also doesn't care what you want.
Yeah. It's so many times. It's like it's a cool little story. It's like I hear people like, oh, I'm going to try and start online personal training, or I'm going to try and sell supplements online, and it kind of goes to a cool story they heard of. Tony Robbins in a seminar he was doing. He got a lady up and he goes, try and pick up that chair. So she walks over, picks up the chair. He goes, no. I said, try and pick up the chair. So she puts the chair down, looks at him a bit like inquisitively and didn't do anything. Goes, no, try and pick up the chair. So trying, at the end of the day, trying is nothing. Trying is like, I'm going to fail with honor. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm going to try it. No, you just got to do it. Like, you have a crack. Did it work? No. Okay, take that as feedback. Right. What can I change? What can I do better and move on from there?
That's absolutely right. Failure is only feedback.
Yeah.
That's something I live my life by.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, doesn't bother me if I fail. It's just feedback.
But I was like, all the time, like, I'm screwing up all the time.
I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made.
Screw up all the time. And I find it funny because we're laughing about it. But you end up taking it on board and be like, oh, that's cool. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's part of the process.
I was running paid traffic to a page that had malware on it. It was just a big red page saying like malware. Like, I was literally wasting money. And I was like, oh.
I did the same thing. My SSL certificate expired, and it's something that I should have had on my calendar. And I'm running a bunch of traffic to it, and I'm like, why does my conversion rate suck so bad today? Until someone finally like emails me, hey, your page is broke, man. And I was like, oh, and there goes, $500.
That's so true. Okay, now I think the last point we should really nail here for the listener is, it's kind of reverse engineering what a lot of people they just don't think about, and it's designing your lifestyle first, and then designing the business around that and how to kind of get there as well. I think a lot of the time people don't understand. I think the biggest problem for business owners and entrepreneurs is lack of clarity.
Absolutely.
They don't know why, and then therefore, if you don't know why, you can never find out how.
And if you don't know why, what's motivating you?
Yes.
How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's a good point. And so, like, one thing that I do with my clients is let's find out, like, I'll ask the question to someone. Like, money isn't the be-all and end-all. We both definitely agree on that. But it's still important.
Absolutely. Okay?
So, I ask, how much money do you want to make? And someone will say, $60,000. Let's say $100,000. And I'm like, cool. I normally have two things back to that. It's like, okay, why only $100,000? Why not $500,000? And then it's, okay, let's actually find out what is behind that. And I go, okay, let's design your lifestyle. Find out if you were to live your perfect life for 1 year, every expense that's involved in that, what does that equate? Sit down for half an hour and bang that out. Find out your perfect lifestyle expenses and then come back to me. Then you know how much it's going to cost. So then then you know internally, which is the most important thing. But when someone asks, or I ask, how much money do you want to make? And it's like, $250,000 a year.
Right. And I think that makes it real.
Yes.
Right? There's a disconnect of like, oh, Chris, I want to make like $1 million this year.
Yeah.
Like, well, what will that do for you?
Yeah.
That will,
Yes.
But it's just an intangible concept if you've never done it before. But then when you sit down and like, okay, I want to live here. I want to have this car. And I want to live in this house, and whatever it is, like, no judgment here. If you want a Ferrari, you want a Ferrari. If you want a Toyota Corolla, you want a Toyota Corolla. I don't care.
Yeah.
But write it down, and then you can say, okay, if I made $250,000 this year, I can live my lifestyle that way. And I think that's just a big eye-opener, like, okay, like, you can actually see it happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like you find out that why, and then I think that actually lights the fire under your ass to make that happen. It's kind of like, okay, that's really what I want. Now it's time to make that happen. And then you can just reverse engineer and go, okay, what is the lifestyle that I want to live?
Yep.
And then once you know what that is, how is my business built around making that happen? And then what steps, what strategy, what actionable steps do I need to make to actually have my business do that?
Right. And, I want to talk in some future episodes of how to actually look at businesses and say, okay, this business won't get me where I want to be.
Yeah.
This business will. Because I think I didn't have that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we could share with people.
But we'll definitely do that. And then kind of like what we can kind of see right now to light it up going into that is, I'll just use personal training for example, because I know that so well, is so many personal trainers will be, okay, how many sessions can you actually do in a week? Like how many hours can you actually physically work without falling over or noosing yourself? And I know in the past, I've done like 70, 80 hours of face-to-face work in a week, and I wanted to like just throw my head against the wall. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, the money was good at the time. I was like, hey, the money's good, but it wasn't worth it because I was dead. My relationships were falling apart. My own training was falling apart. I was falling apart. Like, it was no good. Actually, okay, I remember I went to see a functional medicine doctor and I got like all my blood work done and everything. And he came back with my testosterone levels and they were at the level of an 80-year-old. Like, the dude actually laughed at me. And like, he looked at me and goes, okay, you're in shape. Because that's got nothing to do with what's going on. Because I was struggling to get leaner, I was struggling to get bigger at the time. I was like, what's going on?
Right.
And he goes, you're working too much, you got too much stress, like you just need to change all these things. I was like, what? And that was a massive slap to the face for me. And so for a personal trainer, if someone goes, okay, I want to earn $500,000 a year, and you go, okay, well, you can do, say, 40 hours of work in a week. How much are you realistically going to charge for a session? Does those numbers actually add up? No.
Well, and, you can see now, I'm sure, that the business was based on your time.
Exactly.
Which is not a good thing to base a
Exactly.
business on.
So everything was a failed with that.
And to couple on that, what I think, how Chris and I are different, how I'm different, and why, is the lifestyle we live is quite a bit different. And when I started my business and when I was working, I thought I was just destined to work 40 years in an office cubicle unless I had a big buyout of a business, right? So either I had the option of maybe selling out in 5 to 10 years and retiring, quote unquote, or the option to work my ass off until I died, or until I decided to retire. And the last 6 months of my life have completely reversed that. And now I live a happier life than I ever have before. And I'm working less because I can, and because I've built systems, and I'm not chasing the almighty dollar anymore. I'm chasing freedom and happiness. And that's something that, like, I think is really relatable. And like Chris was saying, the money is still important, Chris isn't going to say, and I'm not going to say, hey, we're not in this for the money. But there's things that are more important than the money, and the sort of lifestyle that you can live is, if you told me this was possible a year ago for me, I wouldn't have believed it. And now, like, sometimes I'll be just in my pool, in my villa, like drinking a beer after surfing, and I'm like, dude, this is surreal. Man, it's just, it's surreal, and I can't believe I'm living this way.
And you've got the ability now to show people actually how to do that.
Absolutely.
All right, so I know right now the listener is probably just frothing at the mouth, wanting to know more about you, Jason, what you're doing, how you're showing people to get to this, and the specificities, say that 10 times fast. how to make that happen. Now, for the listener, we've got something very special for you. So what I want you to do is go to turningproacademy.com, make sure you get to the page for this episode, and on there, you're going to have the link that is going to go straight over so you can get to know what Jason's doing and how he's showing people what to do, so how you can do it yourself. So Jason, I want to say a big thanks. And sir, we've got a lot more greatness coming up.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited.
So now it's time for you to click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's chrisdufey.com to get all the guides and show notes. And if you are wanting the workshops where I walk you through how to build your online business, click on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. This is where I can give you the exact training guides and the workshops for exactly where you're at and the answers that you need. Now, every Friday I'm coming back to you with a new episode. So be sure to subscribe, and if you haven't already, you're going to be getting the world's best insights, the advice and the answers to give you the business, the money, the freedom and the success and happiness that you want. And I want to give you a huge muchas gracias for being here with me. And as always, get in touch with me via the site or via social, as Ask the Pro is about me giving you the answers that you need. So ask away.